I do like the headphones.
Oye, te hablo desde la prisión. Wilson Manyoma. Corona.
That is for sure.
Just like that.
Just like that. Mass and Him Podcast, episode 250. It's a big one, 250.
250.
Tell him, bro. How big is it?
250. And just like that, 250 episodes. I still don't mute my phone before the episodes, and I do that to keep myself humble. But yeah, 250 episodes. I most certainly didn't think we were going to make 20, let alone 250. And here we are, 250 deep.
250, dude. And tonight's a special episode. It's a different episode. It's an episode that, we're a little later than we typically start because things got to be, it's a live show.
Yeah.
All right. It's a live show. So we got somebody in the building. You may know him. Done records with Lil TJ. Done records with Tory Lanez. Damn, Tory Lanez. Hope he's doing all right.
Free the guy.
Tory Lanez, he's written on albums with Tyga. He's on records with writing with Ty Dolla $ign. And he sounds like he's from like LA, like he's in the middle of, where shit is really going on. But no, he's from right here in Long Island.
Right here.
He's
Homegrown.
from right here. Right?
Homegrown.
And with us today, we got Drama Relax in
What
the
up?
building.
Yeah, actually, so I'm from Bayshore, and I always call it the Bay. And for like the first 2-3 years of me really picking things up, everyone thought I was from the Bay, like San Francisco area. So my whole when I was at my peak in SoundCloud area, everyone was like, "Yo, when are you gonna pop out over here?" I'm like, "Yo, I'm from the East Coast, man." So.
Hey, when are you going to make a jerk record?
Yeah. They're like, "Yo, you don't really sound like you're from the Bay, though." I'm like, "Well, I'm from Bayshore."
Yeah, man.
Dude, I can't even
From the
tell
real
you.
Bay, to be honest.
Yeah, well,
Facts.
I got a lot of love for the Bay, San Francisco area. I got a lot of homies out there, so.
Yeah, shout out to the Bay. But, dude, I can't tell you how excited I was when I started doing my research and I learned that you were from Bayshore. Because I grew up in Brentwood.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna ask where you grew up.
I'm from Brentwood. Justin's from Central Islip.
Yeah, I'm from CI.
We don't have to talk about Central Islip because you and I both know, as people who aren't from Central Islip, the things that happen in Central Islip. So,
how dare you?
Us as neighbors, I feel like there's some solidarity. Both our high schools are abbreviated BHS. I even have that in my notes.
Same colors?
Are you guys green?
Oh, you're green. No.
You guys are crimson, right?
No, I thought you had some maroon.
No. We're they changed the mascot now. It used to be the Brentwood Indians. It was and now that's
for political purposes.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to Brentwood.
Yeah. Now we're the Brentwood Quesadillas.
And shout out to the Ducks. If I grew up in Central Islip, I would probably be a diehard Ducks fan. Are you?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. I was. I loved it. I used to wait outside the locker room.
Yeah, I used to. That was like my first job.
Oh,
was
really?
Duck Stadium. Yeah, that's like my
Didn't
childhood
Ricky
job.
Henderson play on the Ducks?
Yeah, dude. Ricky Henderson played. An old teammate of mine played for them too. We played together. He was drafted by the Yankees, and then he ended up, playing for a couple different teams, and then he played for the Ducks eventually.
Carl Everett.
Yeah,
played for the
Carl
Ducks.
Everett.
Wow.
Yeah.
The Ducks got make some moves, man. I want to throw the first pitch at the Ducks game.
You threw the first pitch?
No, I want to.
Oh,
Actually,
shit.
Nolan
We're about
did.
to make that happen.
I could 100% see you doing that.
I would
dude.
love to do that.
I want
just
a petition,
walk out,
bro.
Just walk out, but the stands need to be packed if I'm going to do it.
Oh, we're gonna do it on a fireworks night. If I didn't leave there with such a terrible reputation, as a matter of fact, I think I should be the guy to bring you in.
But if you could do it.
Yeah, they weren't happy with me.
A fireworks night? That's so funny that you know about that because I grew up over by there. So I know exactly what that means. That means people parking on the side of the road and sitting on the roof of their car to watch the fireworks go off by the stadium.
Wow. Fireworks nights are the busiest nights.
That's hilarious.
It's the crew chief fireworks.
Yeah, it is a Gucci show, right?
Yeah, dude, it's a real good. I've seen hundreds of them. Obviously, I worked there for years when I was a kid, throughout high school, and they asked me not to come back the final year, and I still came back, and they hired me, and then I left halfway through the season. That's why I said I don't know if they have me back, but. In hindsight, I think I could be the guy to broker this deal. But yeah, the fireworks nights are the biggest night. Going back to you being from Bayshore.
Broker this deal.
No, I could be the guy. I mean, I don't want a percentage. I just want him to be there. Because I feel like Long Island staple, right? At a Long Island staple place. Because as much as you and I might see the Ducks as somewhere we drove past all the time or that exists, it's like the Long Island Ducks is still a pretty big deal for the most.
100%.
People, Mick Foley goes to you know, at least once a week he's there.
Dude, you're talking about the duck so much, I feel like Quackerjack about to fucking walk out here. I feel like he's about to come out of that back room.
I'll tell you one thing. In my heyday, I could have made that happen.
Yeah, 100%.
I could have fucking pulled that off. I could have had us all in Quackers.
Yeah, so we're getting back to our man Drama here.
Yeah.
And Rap, say what's up to the people one time. I know you're off camera.
What's up, people?
There
Yeah.
you go.
Shout out Rabs. Shout out
Yeah,
Rabs.
shout out Rabs in the back, in the
You're gonna
cut.
hear me laughing a little bit. Tell them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, good, man. You got to get us some nice hearty laughter back there. All right.
I want to, speaking of Bayshore, right? I feel like throughout, like, you know, all my research, I feel like Bayshore for you in your career, like, played a huge role, right? Like, I hear you mention a lot the fact that, you know, there was a studio in your school.
Right.
You were able to make music while being in school.
Right.
Do you agree that, like, you know, having that and having access to that kind of kickstarted you, you know, way faster than, you know, probably the schools where that doesn't exist? Because we didn't have that in our school. When I heard you talking about it, it was like mind blowing to me.
Right. Yeah. So I think first of all, I think that there's something special about being or kind of repping where you're from. I feel like nowadays the music is so, you know, like you might not know where everybody's really from because people are just kind of like making what's the wave, you know, type of shit. The reason why when I was making music back in the day, I feel like it was an era of where it mattered, kind of like repping where you're from type of thing, and like getting like the only love that I like always strive to get really was from Bayshore and like from like people that knew me and stuff like that. So in that aspect, Bayshore was important to me. As far as the music development goes, the all it did was, because it's like I never had any sort of success in high school with music. I was too young. I was too underdeveloped. But all it did, it helped me develop kind of just like the mindset, not even the skill, because that all kind of came well after me getting out of high school. But it helped me develop just like accepting the fact that, okay, I want to make music. I want to rap. People are going to hate on me. People that I know are going to hate on me, and it's like weird. But like I just had to accept that, and I feel like doing it in high school and doing it literally in school was the best way to just like get used to that and adapt to people maybe not really fucking with it, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think in terms of developing me as an artist and like my mentality, it was huge. And I'm very grateful for it. And from what I understand, I don't know any other schools that had a recording studio. And it was very difficult to even use. It became popular as I grew through high school. It kind of became a hangout spot, the studio. But whenever I was able to use it, I definitely took it very serious, and it just helped mold my mind of dealing with people knowing that I'm making music and just like, okay, this is what I'm doing. And, you know, just whatever. If you don't like it, then whatever. I had to just kind of not stress that. So that's where it helped me.
Yeah, see, being willing, learning the skill of putting yourself out there, dude,
Right.
making something and then saying, I like this enough to have other people hear it.
Right. And the studio itself was in a room where people were in, you know, even nowadays, like it's always crazy to me to like think about the way people make music, even the way I make music now versus then. It's like, okay, you can make music in your room and never have to worry about anybody watching or doing anything like in front of people. At that point, I was making music, and there was like, you know, it was a glass screen to separate the room from the studio, but there was like 50 people standing there watching me, you know, which helps with doing something live, helps with speaking in front of people, which are all traits that you want to have if you want to take music seriously. So I think it just developed me just mentally to also be able to be around people.
Got you, bro. I just love the idea of you being able to access that at such a young age. And because I'm sure that was like a dress rehearsal for the real thing. Right. Because you actually took this somewhere.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, at the time I didn't, it didn't feel like that's what it was. Only looking back on it, you realize that is what it was. So, you know, I am grateful for that. Yeah, for sure.
Did you find yourself in that time period rapping more, or because I know you made beats for some time, right?
Right.
So did you find yourself utilizing the studio to, like, you know, for their tools to make beats, or were you like making songs like real or rapping in there?
Yeah, at that time I was writing, and I had to write because, like I said, the studio time was quick. So you only had a period, you know, a class period, 30 minutes, let's say. So so nowadays I don't write any music, and you know, I'm not on a time span ever. But at that point in time, I had to make sure I had everything written out because I had to utilize my time.
Yeah.
So I had to bang it out quick. So yeah, so my writing at that point was crazy and my rapping was crazy. And also just like the dynamic of the studio itself was like a competitive studio. So you had to rap to even be like able to go in there because like the seniors or whatever kind of were in charge of it. So if you couldn't rap to a certain degree, then you might not be able to book it, or they'll just come in there and be like, yo, like that's just not it. And just they'll take over and you're out of there.
Yeah.
You know?
Damn,
So-
that mimics sports
Right,
like so
right,
much.
that's what
Like
it
if you
was.
can't ball, you can't get on the court.
Right, that's how it
Like,
was.
you
That's
know,
how it was.
That's so.
Now they
that's
just let anybody shoot.
Yeah. I see what you did there.
You know?
Damn, y'all, I'll throw them up, you knock them out of the park. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's interesting. So, and then, of course, you know, you go from that to, you know, working with major artists. And, you know, I'm curious because, to be honest with you, first of all, I still got Coming Back on
Yeah, thank
like
you.
rotation, no
Thank you.
doubt. That
Thank
shit
you.
is fire. So, and then, and also we were just talking about that collab project that dropped last year, right? With you and Wayne Jeske.
Me and Jesky, shout out Jesky, yes sir.
Yo, it's just good music, dude.
Thank
It's
you.
like people don't realize that, because I know, like, I don't know if you know, like, I've been making beats for a long time. I made
Right.
music for a long time. And to get the mixes clean, to get the masters clean, and is this independently done? Like what you're doing with Jeske and what you're doing on your own?
Oh, of course.
So Coming Back was an independent project.
Yeah, Coming Back. I mean, everything. I've been off the label now for a minute, so everything that I'm doing is definitely independent, and we're just trying to like, you know, I don't even really put that much stuff out. Honestly, Coming Back was last. I don't even know if it was last summer. I think it might have been. It was either last summer or 2 summers ago. Like I don't even put out that much music anymore, just because the way like putting out music is nowadays is just a lot more challenging than it used to be. It's not just like a quick drop, just put it together, drop it, which makes me like not as crazy about dropping music, because when I could just put it on SoundCloud, it was a lot more easier. But yeah, we had Henny, shout out Henny. He mixed the album. Yeah, me and Jetski, man. Jetski's, you guys should have Jetski on. He's a great guy. He's a fun guy. And we just have a lot of mutual friends and everything. And he works for Barstool, so he kind of hooks me up with that type of shit. And we've been up to Barstool together. And he's got Fire Island House, and we go over there. And we just catch like a beach vibe. And we were just like, fuck it, let's just do an album together. Let's make a vibe, you know?
Sick.
So
That's
yeah.
dude, not for nothing, man. It embodies that whole process, what
Yeah.
you just said.
Yeah.
Like that's what it sounds like. It sounds like people just vibing out and collaborating and really making music. And you guys made that, I assume, together, like in the studio, or were you guys sending stuff back and forth? How did that?
No,
how did that?
I would make a lot of it and send it to him, and he cooked up some choruses and whatever. Yeah, sometimes I don't really make music in the studio ever. I usually just make it at home, and then I present it to an artist, which as I'm going along, a lot of people prefer to work in the studio if you're gonna like collaborate. But I think that's just because people, if you never like grew up making music on your own, or know how to sit there and engineer yourself. I mean, you also make music too, right? Not
Yeah,
just
yeah,
me.
I made-
Right, so
I-
do you
yeah.
make music on your own? Like
Yeah,
you
on
do-
my own,
Right,
yeah.
so that's an important
I
skill.
came up in a time when it was
Right.
people in studios where it was costing me hundreds of dollars
Right,
to
right.
record songs, like,
Right.
and then kind of at the same time, the whole thing started happening where it became a lot more attainable to do it
Right, well, I mean,
on your
look,
own.
You know, I've never been a fan of really paying to go to a studio. Not that I think you shouldn't do that, because if that's the way that you have to get it done, then you should do it. But to me, it's a lot more efficient to learn how to do it on your own, just for time's sake and for you know, just efficiency overall. You know, Rabs unfortunately is a studio owner and wants people coming there, and I support that and want people to go to the studio, and you should do that.
Yeah. Go
But-
book studio time with
Book
Raps.
studio time at Lost Planet Studios, without a doubt. But I think that you know, having some of the skills to to record yourself is beneficial, because sometimes maybe you might have a thought, or you might be in some sort of vibe and you want to capture that at the moment, and instead you got to wait until Tuesday for its 8 o'clock session. So that's kind of why I taught myself how to do it, because just easier, and I could do it when I want to do it.
Yeah.
So I usually will make the music and then present it to another artist.
Okay, that's how I started making beats.
Right.
I was an artist first.
Right.
That was like what I wanted to do, was to be an artist. I started making beats because my producer became unavailable. You know,
you learn when
like-
somebody's not there for you, and then you're
Yeah.
like, oh, now I got to do it, and then you either teach yourself how to do it, or you just say, oh, now I can't do it. So what are you gonna pick?
Yeah,
I love that you say that when you talk about your room, because I've heard about you. I've heard you reference the room before, and I had it on my list of questions. I wanted to hear what you thought about creating music in LA versus creating music in the room. Is the room like where you first started? Is this like your childhood room? Maybe not, the room you're in today, but is that the room you refer to when you consistently talk about, I'd rather make music in the room? Like, is that what?
Yeah,
what's-
that's a good question, because I've been in a lot of hotel rooms. Well, actually, when I'm in the hotel rooms, when I went on tour, I brought my mic with me, and I would record like on the bus, or I would record in the hotel room, and I was still able to make fresh shit. When I was recording in LA, see, the thing with when I was recording in LA, everything, my whole journey is based off of what my emotions are at the time. So if I'm in a good place mentally, then the experience one time could be different than it is another time. When I was recording in LA at the time when I got signed, I was out there. The label would, before I got signed to the label Interscope, they would kind of fly me out for like a trial run kind of type of thing, and they would be like, okay, we're gonna bring you out for like 2 weeks, which is a long time. I don't like being away from home for that long. But they were like, we'll fly you out for 2 weeks, and we'll put you in like 8-hour sessions, and we'll do that every day with new producers, new songwriters, and this and that. And I was like, okay, well, regardless of how I feel about this situation, I have to perform, because this is it. Like, this is the tryout. So I kind of was forced to have to figure it out. And I was drinking a lot and everything, and like I was just like more focused on just what was happening than actually making the music, which I find to be a problem for me in the studio. I'm distracted. It's more of a party. I make my music at home early in the morning when I wake up, 7 a.m., go to the gym, come home, make some music. I'm kind of more focused. If I'm partying, yeah, you can make something crazy, which I have, and I've been around in those sessions. But if I'm gonna take it serious, I have to be sober. I have to be just a lot more locked in. The studio kind of turns me into like a little bit more of a partier type of thing, and I can't really like get the job done that great at the studio. It's great. Studios are great. In LA, the studio's beautiful. We're overlooking, I'm in Santa Monica, I'm on the beach. I got a balcony. I got a chef, so everything's great about it. But like it boils down to what are you making? What music are you making? And the person that signed me let me know, like, yo, you gotta really dial in and make some serious shit, because you're not just here to just do whatever. So that was a little scary, but figured it out.
Yeah, it's funny when you see videos of like rappers in studios, and it looks like it looks like a great time.
Yeah,
But at the same time, as somebody myself, I'm not a musician. When outsider looking in objectively, I'm like, man, I can't get anything done with all them distractions. Motherfuckers is chiefing, gambling. There's women in there.
Right.
I would imagine that you probably, but you know what? Some people might be efficient like that way. But at the
100%.
same time, you hear stories about people talking about how Eminem was, where he worked. I've heard interviews where people say that he works 9 to 5.
9 to 5, yeah.
Yeah, he goes
Takes
in.
a
he
lunch
does,
break.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like those are the things that may, some people may find it necessary in order to achieve success and do this the right way.
Yeah.
Because you can't. I know me personally, like I wouldn't be able to I'm easily distracted.
Right. Something that's been happening to me lately is I work a normal job also. I'm on my lunch break, and I live close to my job, so I walk home from my lunch break and I'll record. And I'll have like 20 minutes. And just that 20 minutes, sometimes I just get something that's just great. and it's like I'm kind of changing how I record, and like it's just quick and it's just like in and out, and it's not too thought out, and I just find it better in shorter windows because it doesn't kind of give you time to overthink it, or it's just like, okay, let me get it out, and then I'll listen to it in 4 hours and see what I think. When you're sitting in the studio for 8 hours, it's kind of like, everybody just kind of like gets bored, and it's just like, what are we doing? It's just too long. It's too much. I think you need to be in and out and kind of be more living like a normal life and recording versus making it this like huge part of your day and just making it so separate from like your actual life. Mm-hmm. For me, that's what I've, but I think as you grow and you become like an adult, I think you appreciate having that time more than when you're younger. You probably want, the hyped up studio vibe and all that stuff. So I understand.
And there's been little time I've seen wasted more than in studio sessions full of people.
Oh yeah.
The guys that like to book the studio to go and write, and I'm like, dude, you're going to write, like you want to take 3 hours to start writing something. The session is 4 hours,
right,
or whatever. You take 3 hours, you're writing half it, and then by the end you have nothing,
right?
So that makes a lot of sense. You were going to say something.
Two things. I want to address the question in the chat. I think you did answer it, but I just want to address it. It says, maybe a bit naive, but I'm assuming that the studio would have top tier equipment. Where can I learn, you can learn the basics at home with entry level stuff, correct?
Yeah, that's, correct. The studio definitely always has better equipment than what I have. I mean, when I got signed to the label, they gave me a certain amount of money to go and make a home studio. Cause I don't really remember how much I expressed it, but I definitely let them know, like, okay, I make music at home. So I think they gave me like a $15,000 budget to make a home studio. And I went into a guitar center in LA with an engineer, a studio engineer that they gave me, and we kind of just picked out everything that we thought was going to be, the best for what we wanted. So I got like a Neumann mic. I think at the time those things were like $3-4 grand maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
So I had a $4,000 mic. The only thing better than that mic, from what I understand, is the Sony mic. That's like 10 racks. That mic is definitely better. It's warmer. But the Neumann's, like, people might argue that one's better. So I got that, and I got all the best stuff. And I did it all at home, and I didn't like the sound. I didn't really like how I sounded on the best type of equipment that I could have got. So I think it's preference. If you're a really good engineer and you really know what you're doing, I think you could probably make all those things work. But for me, I use like a $200 mic. I use GarageBand. I've been very open about the fact that I record on GarageBand. I mean, everything I've done for Tyga, for Jeremiah, for Tory Lanez, I did all of this on GarageBand, just sitting there. So, yeah, the top tier quality is there for sure if you're in a studio. But once I've learned that it's not necessary, because if I could get to Tory Lanez especially at that time when he was like really hot, off of GarageBand, that's like, you don't even, like, GarageBand is free. It just comes with a Mac. It's like the absolute bottom tier you could get. I'm doing it on a $200 mic. So
I love that.
It's not necessary, but it helps if you know what you're doing with it.
Yeah. So, and most people, not for nothing, would probably benefit from doing something similar to that. People want to jump in a studio. Most people that are paying all this money for these sessions they're not doing shit. They're not doing anything close to a lot of stuff. It's just, they like it. They like to stream it. They like to show like kind of the process. Oh, we in the studio, we working with money and shit, and then.
I never forget a story that Justin told me. This was maybe like 10 years ago. He's like, yo, it's a story. It's his story, but he told me the story. And actually, if you remember it, when the guy comes into the studio, he says like, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Like, if you guys aren't here to rap or produce or engineer,
leave.
You got to go.
Yeah. Like, leave.
And I was like, damn. And I've had people invite me to studio sessions and shit like that before, and I was just like, dude, I'm never going. Because I don't have anything to contribute, and I don't want to be the guy in there talk about, hey, you ain't contributing anything, get out of here.
Russ, can I just get the vape real quick? Yeah. Well, the thing is you know what I like? I like having my boys in the studio.
Yeah.
Thank you. I like having my boys in the studio. over time, certain people that I had in the studio started to figure out how to contribute.
Okay.
Which is what you should do. If your boy's a rapper and you're in the studio, obviously he must trust your ear. Or if you're just my brother, then you're in there chilling. Like, you know.
But you should find a purpose, right? The people around you should find a purpose. Like whether you're the guy, maybe not in your circle, but like somebody in somebody's circle holds the drugs. Somebody in somebody else's circle has the ear. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody should find a purpose.
Yeah. I think that's something that is much better when that person understands it on their own versus you having to push that onto them, because not everybody wants to have a position, and that's fine. You know, in my instance, when things started working well for me, I had people around me that were just my friends, and like they had no responsibility to do anything, and you know, maybe I might have made them feel like they have to do something or something like that. You know, a lot of people, like, they didn't sign up to work for me or to do things for me, you know? And a lot of the people that were helping me, they don't know anything about it. So it takes oh. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good.
Shut up, Rabs. It takes somebody to they have to care on a bit of a different level, and they also have to put themselves in the shoes of saying, okay, well, if I'm gonna lock in with this guy, the artist, then the longevity in this for me is only going to be obtainable if I am useful, or else eventually I'm just going to fade away. Listen, I don't want to be really around anybody at this point, you know. So if things were really working well for me, if you're not, like you said, doing something to contribute at this point in my life, I don't really see the point then, because I don't just need to be hanging out with my friends anymore like that. Like, that's separate now, you know. When you're young, it's like, yeah, you know, everybody's just hanging out, we're all doing something. But now it's like, and even like Rabs, for example, we have these conversations all the time. We understand the value of having people around you that, yeah, we're friends, but at the same time, you know, you got to get on this boat and contribute if you want to be rolling with me on that level. If you want to just be my friend, that's great too. But when I'm going to put in work and do things and then receive the benefits from it, and you want to also be a part of that, then the work that you put in to help me you know, then you're led into those moments.
100%.
You know, me and Rabs do things all the time. Whether Rabs takes me somewhere or I bring him somewhere, we understand that that we do these things and we appreciate them together because we know that we work and we put in the time and the effort, and we've put in the years to enjoy these moments. And it feels like we're having these moments because of the work that we put in. So the benefit's great, but you got to also contribute to it to really be able to enjoy it, I think.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. You can't have your cake and eat it too, right? You can't be in the club popping bottles with me, but, you know, when it's time, somebody's in the studio, someone's got to run to the store real quick, you know, that can't be above you. And I think that comes with a heightened level of like emotional maturity and understanding that, like, listen, I may be in some essence working for you, but like we're working together. I'm contributing because we have the common goal, and the goal is your success, right? Because if you succeed, then I keep getting the whatever reason it
right.
is.
It comes with maturity. That's the number one word. Because when I was when I had shit going on, you know, and I would go to a club or something, I'm giving out bottles to whoever. I don't even know you. I'm buying you bottles and all these things. Like, that's just a flex. There's no, even if you have the money to do that, it just doesn't make any sense, really. And you realize that. It just doesn't make sense. Like, why would I do that? So, yeah, you have to understand who's worth giving that energy to, because I've learned, and I'm a very sensitive person, when I give that energy to somebody and it doesn't get reciprocated, I get offended. Whether it's, and like I said, you don't have a responsibility to reciprocate it. You know, a lot of people I have extended my hand to say, yo, come fuck with me. Let's do something. And it's like you could just tell that it's not there, and I get offended by that. But the person has no obligation to do anything for me. So when somebody realizes what I'm trying to offer and takes advantage of it and is there to help, you know, I really appreciate those things a lot. When I was younger, I was just offering that to everybody, and 99% of the time, it was kind of shot down. And because I'm like, okay, well, I'm expecting you to operate on this level because that's the level I'm operating at. And if you're not, now I'm pissed, which is not fair. But that's just how my mind was. Now I wouldn't feel that way. So
Yeah, you kind of learn what to expect from who.
right now, I
And-
just like don't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what inevitably happens, right? Because there's this level of expectation, especially when you're doing something in order to be a creator of any kind, whether you're a musician, a painter, you're an artist of any kind, it takes a certain level of passion. And sometimes the people around you don't have that, you know, that level, and they can't see what you're trying to do. Or they're just not willing to participate, and they just want to, you know, the good
Right,
parts.
right.
But I mean,
Yeah.
we talk about this all the time, where the closest people to us like don't watch our podcast,
Yeah.
and it's like, and first it's like, man, this fucking, I wish you fucking support me, watch my
Yeah.
shit. But at the same time, it's like, all right, now we're kind of like, it is what it is.
It's weird because they know us. That's what makes it weird. You know what I'm saying? Rabs is
Yeah.
laughing. Like if you know somebody for some reason, you really don't think they really shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like everybody, like I don't know what that's about. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny because I feel the opposite way. I feel like the opposite way. I feel like everybody that's on Long Island, I just want everybody to come together. I want all the podcasters to collab. I want all the artists to collab. Like I talk about this shit all the time on here. I'm like, yo, we need to be more like Atlanta. Like
Yeah.
everybody needs to be like Atlanta. Just help everybody, talk to everybody, reach out to people, give people your platform, you know? And I think that would just have these people understand it more. Cause when they just see somebody like you know, that's really doing it, it just seems so distant and so far that their mind doesn't even go there to how they can help or how they can contribute. To try to do it a little bit themselves, it all makes sense.
This really is a great segue for a question that I had lined up. So when I heard you say previously that, and you're going to hear me say this a lot, I heard you say,
No, that's good.
I heard you say previously that when you signed to Interscope and, you know, it became, and you had something like tangible, like you were being funded, you're getting paid, that the people closest to you kind of had like a realization that like, oh shit, this is like a real thing.
Yep.
Do you think at that point, did you kind of see a shift in certain people where they're like, oh shit, I got to get my shit together. This motherfucker's really doing it right now.
Well, I think like something changed before I got signed. When I got signed, it was kind of like, not that it was not that people expected it, but it wasn't like people were like, okay, we get it. Like, we understand why that happened.
Yeah. It made sense.
Right. It wasn't like just out of left field thing that happened. Way before, when I started dropping songs like Can't Talk Crazy and Chanel Love, these are songs that I have that I dropped in like 2017, 2018. When those songs kind of started buzzing, that's when I saw the switch in just like people that know me and started kind of looking at me in a certain type of way.
I get it. So it makes it real to people because I heard a producer. You're familiar with Cannon, right? Mm-hmm. Don Cannon. Mm-hmm. So he has this YouTube channel called I think it's called Tomorrow, and he does a lot of interviews with producers. And he had producers on it. I think the producer was doing records for Jeezy or something like that. And he has them recreate the beat so you can see it, whatever, you know, does he hook up a Triton or whatever in order to make these beats. And then he had one of them who said like his mom and dad were like, yeah, okay. And then his dad said, when you're really doing it, show me the 100,000 in the bank. And then I'll like believe you, you know, that this is really something. So that's what he ended up doing. And it makes sense because nobody will ever get it. Like family doesn't get it. Friends don't get it because most people aren't trying to pursue these goals. Like they don't get the podcast. This is crazy. Either I have family members that think I'm on TV, which is completely inaccurate. Right, you know what I'm saying? Right. Or they think I'm just doing some Wayne's World shit in the basement. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, so So it's like, it's tough to make anybody really understand, you know, unless they're really trying to do it themselves.
But like my grandma, like anytime that a song's on the radio, just like any song, my grandma's like, "Is that you?" And I'm like, and at this point I'm pissed. I'm like, "Shut the fuck up." I'm like, "Grandma, respectfully, you know that's not fucking me. That's Post Malone." Like, what do you mean? Is that me?
Right?
Are you just trying to mock me or something?
That's so funny.
I'm like, cut that shit out. Stop fucking saying, "Is that me on the fucking radio?"
I'm
You
telling
know
you.
if it was me on the radio because I would be turning up right now.
Yeah.
It's just not me. Sometimes
Yo,
I gotta,
that's,
like put her in place. She's pissing me off, my grandma lately.
dude, it's facts, dude. I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you, I have family
That's so
members that
funny.
literally think I'm on TV.
Oh,
like my
dude.
family in Puerto Rico, yo, they think I'm on goddamn television.
Bro, I was just gonna say, like, my family that's not from here, you would think I'm on like Univision, like I was on Telemundo or something like that. They're like, oh no, him? Yeah, he's got a TV show or something like that. I was like, listen, I don't want to disappoint you guys, but I got a job. I got a 9 to 5, you know.
He does the weather or something like that. He's on the news. He does like,
Yeah,
you know.
just like my dad.
Yeah, they don't get it.
They don't get it. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't get it,
So, like,
bro.
listen, I love my grandma. I'm sorry. My grandma is really my dog, but you know, and she's tapped in too. She watches TMZ, so she knows what's up. And she's like, you know, she'll be like, "Oh yeah, I know Tyga. He used to date the Jenner. You know, she knows what's up with him and everything." And it's like, I'm just like, you know, look, everybody's got to understand that you know, if you can understand the situation and want to have a serious conversation about my situation, then I'm willing to do that. But like, you know, understand people should at least be able to think enough about what's the reality of the situation and what's not. So sometimes I take it a little. I'm like, listen, you know, because people come up to me all the time. You still making music, this and that.
Yeah, it happens that way, man. I mean, maybe one day I'll be on TV. But I wanted to talk a little bit because you mentioned Tyga, and I wanted to ask about this because, am I correct? You have on Tyga's new album, "Not Suitable for Work," right? Not safe for work. Not safe for work. Not suitable.
Yeah.
See, I had to not suitable for work. No, not safe for work. That album you had, I want to say, if I count, I think it's 6 writing credits on that album, right?
Yeah, I was about to. I had 7, but at the last second, he switched one. But yeah, I have 6. Yeah, 6.
That's super dope, man. That's so, you know, I always am fascinated with like the way stuff happens. Like how exactly, like what is, you know, the process with linking, you know, with somebody like Tyga. I know that you have industry connections, of course. You were with labels, stuff like that. So are you making references at home and passing it off?
So with the Tyga situation, is everything all right?
Yeah, yeah.
I want to make sure you're good. I don't want you guys to have
Yeah, no.
You know what it is? I'll tell you exactly what it is.
Yeah,
so I
it's-
don't freak you guys
Yeah.
out.
Nah, you're
To
good.
be honest with you.
There was I'm gonna keep it a stack on everybody. People see me walk past Justin's camera. I don't want to answer. This is a
Yes.
great question, and I want to know the answer to it. But I'll keep it a stack on everybody. There was a little bit of feedback in the mic, so I switched your channel, and then you were lower.
Okay.
So I wanted to crank you up. So I was just listening to the reference.
good now?
Now you sound great. Also, if you could just put it in front of you, because it's straight off. So I try to crank you up a little bit.
Okay.
But everything is
Okay.
fine.
Sorry.
The
Yeah, and
people
it
out
was
there-
fine.
Yeah.
This is micro stuff.
Yeah, I even got a text on the side. One of my friends, they said they loved you. They want to say it in the chat for whatever reason, but they said this guy's
Thank you.
great.
Yeah. So
All right. Yeah.
So we were
yeah,
talking.
so like, you know, I want to talk about the process of, because I know as an artist it's one thing. You're an artist, you're doing your thing, you get, you know, you work releasing your own records, you get the attention of someone, and you get signed.
Yeah. Okay,
Right.
So I'll tell you about the Tyga situation since that's what we were.
Yeah, that's
So-
so what's the
So
process
this
there?
is how this works. So, first of all, it is it shows the time in the game to be in this type of situation, because the only way you get in that type of situation is by having relationships and connections with people, and having and people need to trust you. If someone's gonna put their reputation on the line for you, they need to trust you, and that takes a long time to build. So sometimes you might have a relationship with somebody and you're like, okay, well, where's this going? And you don't know, but maybe 5 years later, then you know. So that's been a common thing for me, where I've had relationships with people for 10 years for now, and now it makes sense. Now it can work. So you got to build trust, and that takes time. So people need, just understand if you're an artist that forming the relationship doesn't mean you got to make something happen right away. But so basically, how that worked was just out of pure luck. I met somebody named Soraya. Shout out to Soraya. Shout out to Benji, who is an industry woman that just makes a lot of plays inside the industry and has a lot of connections and relationships, and knew Dre London, who at the time was Tyga's manager. I was just kind of like, and at this point in time too, I wasn't even considering songwriting. Like, I didn't even look at it as a thing. Although people always kind of suggested it. I was like, nah, I'm going to focus on being an artist. I don't want to songwrite. So when I was sending Soraya music, she wanted to give me music. And this was right after I got dropped from the label, like 2020, like the summer before COVID. I was sending her music because I thought that she was like trying to send it out to people and like get me another deal, or like try to have like another music executive, sign me or something. But what she was really doing, what I didn't realize, was she was actually taking my music and sending it to other artists and sending it to other managers for other artists. So one day I just made the Pop Star Shorty song, which was originally called Selena. I did the hook on it. That's the one with Ty Dolla $ign. And like a year later after I made it, she sent me a video of Dre London playing it with Tyga and Ty Dolla $igns on it. And that was in 2021. Obviously the album just came out. So I've been sitting on that for 4 years. I had this shit with them. And like 2 years later, once I heard the snippet, that's when I DM'd Tyga, or I commented something on Tyga's picture, and I was like, yo, you gotta drop that Selena record. And then he followed me and DM'd me, and that's how me and him built our own relationship. And then I started sending music, and then I went out there and we got together in the studio and everything. And that's how I was able to get as many as I got, because I pushed myself to have a relationship directly with him. Because another thing too, if you're an artist, is like, you have to understand that the music that you make, the managers and the A&Rs and all these things, and I dealt with this for years and years and years. I always got shut down. These people don't have, sometimes maybe they do, but they don't have the same ear like the artist. You want to know if the artist is fucking with you, then you got to get the music to the artist directly, because his manager might be like, nah, I don't fuck with that, but like, you don't even know if the artist heard it. Mm-hmm. So once I was able to get directly to Tyga, now I'm like, okay, well, now I get what he fucks with, and I understand what he likes, and it's just much easier to work together that way. So the real difficult part is getting direct access to the artist. I luckily somehow, by the grace of God, just have a relationship with him, and I was able to just text him ideas, and we would bounce ideas off each other, and that's how I was fortunate enough to get that many songs, and we have a lot more.
Yeah, because those, not for nothing, those are some of my favorite records on the album. Are those ones? It's almost like you hit a stride with those like 3 records like back to back. Is that like Woody and
Woody, Pop Star Shorty, the stripper girl song.
Yeah. There's like a cluster there
Woody's
with
got Lil TJ on it.
Yeah, there's a vibe there, like straight through.
He was originally telling me that he was gonna put Wayne on it, on Woody.
Wow. To put Wayne on it would be great. Well, Wayne is on another record on the album.
Yes, he is on the biggest song on the album, which is Pop It or something like that.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. So there's that record. You got, Ty Dolla $ign's on the album, Lil TJ's on the album, and to see just your name in those credits, like, it leads me to ask the question. I'm like, okay, so what is the difference? If you don't want to go into details, you don't have to, or, but I'm curious, like, what is it on the back end when it comes to being the artist versus being the writer? Is there a difference? Is it?
Yeah, there's a big difference.
Okay.
Well, here's what I'm learning that works. If you're the songwriter, for me, the best, all the songs that I get placed are songs that I made for myself. I didn't make it for Tyga. I didn't make it for whoever. So I'm noticing that it might not work going in there and saying, okay, I'm gonna make a song for this one or that one. If you just make a song because the artist wants to fuck with me because they like my vibe and what I got, so that's why they're coming to me. So if I'm making what they make, then they're like, well, I could just make what I make. So being able to make, the best part about being a songwriter is I actually could just make what I want to make anyway, which is unique to the other artists because they're not making that type of sound. So it makes it a lot better. And the real part I like about it is I could say certain things that I wouldn't say as the artist, but I can say it in the way that I would say it if I was doing it. So I could talk about the Phantom, I could talk about the PJ, I could talk about the chains, I could talk about the guns. Not really so much the guns with Tyga, but maybe certain other artists where you just like, you know how it is with those type of lines.
That's interesting. It's almost like, it's almost like taking on a role like an actor to a degree.
Right.
You get to embody that character kind of.
Right, but put your own sauce on it.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
interesting.
I have found that being a songwriter is the biggest blessing I've ever had. My dad used to tell me from day one, he was always like, man, you should just songwrite. Just songwrite. He always told me that. And I was like, no, I wanna be the rapper, I wanna be this, that. John Bellion. You guys know who that is?
Yes, I do know John Bellion.
That name is written in his notes.
Yeah.
So let me see how to put this story here. So I'm not even gonna tell it.
You should.
Nah, I'm not even gonna tell
You
it.
can't tell it, or
No, I
you're.
just don't know how to say it. Something. At some point in time, I'm not gonna say it.
Really?
No, shout out John Bellion, man. I'm trying to work with him. Is my mic work? Can you guys?
Yeah,
hear me?
no, you're good. You're good.
I'm sorry for all the technical fuck ups that I'm doing.
No, you're perfectly fine, dude. You're perfect. They could hear you. It's just like with these mics, like when you get in front of it, it sounds so crispy. And when you get over here, it almost sounds like you're a little bit.
I just want to make people to see that I'm wearing a wife beater.
Yeah, hell yeah.
No, you look fabulous, dude.
Hell yeah. Let them see it, man. Let them see it.
Yeah, show them the hamburger meat.
But all right, that makes sense. So you don't want to tell us a story about John Bellion, but we love John Bellion on this show.
John Bellion is the ultimate, I think peak of a songwriter right now. Like the way that what he has going on and the type of music that he makes, the pop music, like he wrote for Bieber. Obviously, everybody knows what he's done. And he's a Long Island guy, and he, the way that I think he cultivated what he has is a great path. And I would just love to work with him, and I hope that someday I could, tap in with him because, I feel like, when you get to a certain place, it's like, okay, why, that's why the Tyga shit helps me, and like, let me get some more, and then, once I'm able to build up enough of a discography to be worthy of working with him, because listen, that's a big dog. That's where I feel like, because I've been around rappers all the time. I've been around big rappers, the biggest rappers I've been around. I haven't been around songwriters. I haven't been around successful songwriters to get knowledge, to get learning, to get understanding of how to operate. So when I hang out with Tyga, when I hang out with Big Sean or whoever I'm with, that lifestyle is, you can learn, like there's nothing really for me to take necessarily, because it's just like, okay, well, I'm not even close to this world. So this is just a dream to me basically, and I'm just living in the moment. Like it's hard to take something from that. Because like, how am I gonna be Big Sean right now? Like, how, it's like that's a difficult thing to do. So I would like to be around somebody like a John Bellion, because then I could start picking. It's just like in business, if you're around your boss a lot, you start understanding the tendencies and the way, and just the attitude and the way that people make decisions. From my normal job, I'm tight with my boss, and I've learned like, you see how they operate in business, and you pick up on these things and you can utilize them. So I would like to be around more established songwriters to pick apart what works for them and to start learning about a successful songwriter. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
John Bellion would be an example of somebody that I think could teach.
For sure. John Bellion is legit because he has a whole different thing that he's got going on. It's like, I think last I was reading about it, because he had a similar situation where, like, you know, label stuff and all that kind of, and then he went independent, and then he like kind of disappeared for a little while, and then he dropped this, he does this like website where he just drops records, you know, and it's like a super simple interface as far as I've seen. It's almost like a Reddit style thing, and it's just, and he just drops links on there with new music, and he's going completely like directly to consumer, right. You know, and it's like changing the whole game. Like when I saw that, I was like, what? Like his Instagram has nothing on it. It's got like one post or something like that.
He's low key.
Yeah, man. And if you know, you know, with the
that's
community,
right. That's right.
He built a community. Right. So
Before we get too far away from it, I just want you to know that you are a big dog.
Thank
You
you.
may
Yeah.
not. You might.
I appreciate that.
You're sitting so close to you might not see it, but I'll tell you objectively.
Thank you.
From where we're sitting, from where 99% of people are sitting, you're 100% a big dog.
Thank you. Thank you.
100%.
I really appreciate that.
Of course, dude.
and it's been a minute since I knew about you, by the way, like years, like Kemba times.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Like that's like
you. Thank
Bayshore football field and shit
for
like that.
sure.
You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
Like it's
Yes,
been a
sir.
minute. Like when when I saw that, I was like, what the? I forget who put me on. I don't know if it was you or if it was Ray. Somebody put me on. You know, like this dude killing it from Long Island.
I would have been on here earlier, man. I didn't know until you did it with him.
Dude,
And I was
but
like, yo, this looks so good. The quality looks great. Like you guys seem, smart. I would have been out here way earlier, man. So I appreciate that, though, guys.
Yeah, of course, dude.
Of course.
I
man.
want to, real quick, the video. Dude, I love seeing like artists and people who are successful in their fields and seeing like recognizable places. Like when you're in places that I know, I'm like, dude, I've drove past that field a million times. I ran around that a thousand times. You know, like it gives you a sense of pride. Like I'm prideful that you're from here.
Right.
And you know, it's
Thank
like,
you, man.
and that's the way, unfortunately, most people don't feel that way. I feel like that's the way we should all feel when somebody's from your area, somewhere so close to you, and like they're doing their thing. Like we should be like shouting out from the rooftops, right?
You know what it is? It's like back to what we were saying before with just like the whole unity thing. Me and Raz went to Atlanta, and I think that was like the first time that I really like saw the difference. Because Long Island, listen, behind closed doors, everybody's friends. Everybody's tight. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody's cool. There's no, like, everybody in Long Island that makes music for the most part. I don't know about the younger guys these days. But, like, all, like, the OG guys, everybody's tight. Everybody's friends with each other. When we went to Atlanta, you could just see that when everybody's just kind of, like, together, there's just, like, everybody's got, like, 100 friends. Everybody's, like, and also, like, you see that everybody kind of like plays different roles, but it all kind of comes together and it all meshes with each other. Even when me and Raz went to some rooftop party in the city the other night, and even like then, it's just like you see these people with so many friends and so many different people around them. It's a valuable thing, and it's important. I don't know why Long Island doesn't really have so much of that publicly. I think it's because there hasn't been somebody that kind of forces that to happen, because everybody's just scrapping and fighting to try to just get somewhere. Because like it's a lot more comfortable when you're kind of get there, and you can kind of sit back and be like, okay, well I did this and I have this, and it's like, okay, I don't have to necessarily scrap myself into just proving to everybody that I'm something. Once you get past that stage, it's a lot easier to connect with people and form relationships. A lot of people out here it's hard to get there. It's hard to get across that line because there's no outlet. There's no OG guy. Like you might say I'm an OG or Rouse is an OG, but it's not like we can like change somebody's life really like that. Like we're not like Young Thug in Atlanta or something. Mm-hmm. So that's just, I think what it is just everybody's just fighting so hard to get somewhere with the music, because it's just getting harder and harder. Thank God I had the moments when I had them. I mean, it's just getting harder and harder to stand out. So, but one day I think we'll get there. I mean, it has to. Long Island's just too big and too talented and it's too unique. It has to happen eventually.
I feel like when it does happen, sometimes they don't even want to say they're from Long Island. Like a lot of times you hear people blowing up and it's like, oh, this guy's from Long Island. How come you're not saying that shit all the time?
Yeah, there's legends that are from here, but you know, we're trying to do that honestly with our podcast. Like, you know, I've done the music, I've, you know, photography, videography, all that kind of stuff. It's so difficult to kind of provide a service unless somebody specifically needs that service. You know, but with a podcast, we can provide a platform for people to come and talk like about whatever. If they want to come and talk about the music, if they're, you know, we've had brewmasters on here that make local beers and stuff. Right. We've had different people that just come on and talk, and it's like we're so big on bigging up local people. Right. You know, so we're with you on that, man.
Yeah, well, that's why I think Rogan is is the best, because my favorite Rogan episodes are episodes of people that, you know, not the famous people or whatever. It's just kind of like this, like the agricultural guy, or like the guy that's in the safari type of shit, where you're just like learning something about somebody. So I like that aspect of it, and I think that there's definitely a lot more going on out here than just music. Because even just like the culture in itself, like again when we went down to Atlanta, it's not like all these guys are music guys. These are big dog guys, but they have nothing to do with music. They own a clothing store. They're something related to just the culture. So if you guys are trying to expose that, then that's even better, because clearly Long Island has a heavy culture outside of music also.
Yep.
For sure, man. There's so much going on here. We had a charter boat owner and shit like that a while back. Like we had an illustrator guy that's going to be drawing at Comic-Con. He was like our last guest that we had. Like there's different people that we're trying to get on, just because there's so many people on Long Island that do really cool stuff. It's across the board.
Yeah.
There's
and they're
cool
here.
Stuff.
This is like us, you know what I'm saying? Like this, you're here, you're trying to do something. We're trying to do something too. Let's do something together. You know,
Ray Figs.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Who is the Spasmatic guy?
Spasmatic is our dude.
Yeah, he's one of our mods. Go ahead, see what he.
Shout out Spasmatic, man. I appreciate you.
He says you're obviously a big dog when Berto's panicking over stream quality, even though it's never ever been an issue once.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so it's good. Sometimes I hear things that they don't hear, you know what I'm saying? But we appreciate Spaz. Spaz is always there for us. He's been rocking with us since day one. That's my dog in real life, at 100%.
Let me address what he said here.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I appreciate you, Spasmatic, man, for tuning in. So how often do I go back and listen to hits? Yeah, okay. That's something that I deal with all the time. You know, at this point in time, when I like go listen back to like my bigger songs, it's kind of more of like just a reminiscing moment. It's the same thing as if like you go and listen to Drake and you listen to Take Care or something. If you're a Drake fan or whatever fan you are, if you listen to those people, you're probably like a.
Ooh.
Here we go. You about to hit me? He about to be like, yo, who you like, Master Ace or some shit? He about to be like, yo, who you mess with? Who you mess with? The Far Side and shit?
This guy's listening to Sugar Hill Gang, thinking about when he was in his 20s.
100%.
Come on,
I'm sorry.
in my 20s.
I'm sorry, I'm just playing, bro.
I love it, bro. Roast me. That's hilarious. He's like, yo, I was wondering, like, when's the first time you heard a hip hop, the hip to the hip.
Yeah, Justin always reminisces about going to Hall & Oates concerts and shit like that. He said, dude, you should have seen him live, bro.
You went to a Hall & Oates concert?
Yo, that shit, I wish I haven't, but I would.
I wish I did.
I'd go to a Hall & Oates concert in a second. Bro, that's hilarious.
What did you listen to in high school?
What I listened to? Yeah. Bro, I'll tell you right now, man. I have this theory that I think the most influential music to an artist is what they heard in 10th grade.
Without a doubt.
I think 10th grade is the year. If you want to write raps and shit like that, or you want to make music, what you were listening to in 10th grade. And you know what came out in 10th grade? The Blueprint came out when I was in 10th grade.
So you had a whole different...
I'm a soul beat.
So what year was
Bro,
that?
the Blueprint 1?
Yeah.
No.
You funny, bro? This guy's laughing at me. I wish you had a mic. I wish I had a camera to put on you so I could see your face behind that monitor.
Yo,
How dare you?
Were you born post 2000?
I was born in 97.
97.
Nice guy. Dude, you were born after Biggie died?
Oh, you got a pick?
Can I go?
Yeah, I got you. One second.
This guy was born
Yeah,
after Biggie died. Get in here, Rabs. This guy is before Biggie died, bro.
This is crazy. Yeah, so we can talk about Biggie.
That's insane.
Guys.
That's insane. This guy, Rabs was born after Biggie died. This is remarkable. I cannot believe this, bro.
Wait, so the Blueprint 1, Justin? I thought you really?
Yeah, the Blueprint 1, 2001, bro.
2001.
2001.
My bad. I didn't mean
It came out on 9/11. The
thought-
Blueprint 1 came out on 9/11. Not KRS-One's Blueprint. I'm talking about Jay-Z's Blueprint
No,
one.
yeah. I thought that came out probably in like 98, 99, but maybe not.
Nah, it came out in
I'm
2001.
not like the biggest Jay-Z guy. I respect him. I definitely listened to him when I was, younger, like growing up in high school and stuff. But yeah, Blueprint 2001.
Yeah, so there was that. There was Illmatic. I think, look at this. Yo,
this episode
bro,
is so
this
fire
is
right now.
haywire,
Yo,
bro.
hurry,
This is haywire. Lucy.
Lucy, go back over. Yo, look.
Lucy,
She has to reverse.
Lucy, back it up. She's moving furniture, this dog.
Come on.
Chat.
Who tried to-
Wow. This is that's Lucy. I'm sure you guys know. I don't know how often she busts through the door like that, but that was unique.
Yeah, man. But I'm looking at these chats over here. So, rumor has it the stream intro was Vanilla Ice. Oh, wait a minute. 2001 is when The Fairly Odd Parents first aired, if that's more relatable. The Fairly Odd Parents dropped in 2001. I was in 10th grade,
I
bro.
don't know why I felt the Blueprint was so much older than it was because I was born for that. I was there.
Yeah, you were alive for that for sure.
I didn't know it, but
I mean, 2001 was a great year for hip hop, man. It was a great year for hip hop. I'm actually gonna look up hip hop albums.
I guess that makes sense, bro, because I was 5 probably at that time.
Yeah, 2001. It literally dropped on 9/11.
You were in high school or middle school?
I was in high school. I was in 10th grade.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say maybe you were in like 8th.
Yeah.
Or 9th grade.
So look, these are some of the albums that came out. So the Blueprint by Jay-Z came out in 2001. Stillmatic by Nas came out in 2001. That was when they did the Ether and the Takeover battle, right? Word of Mouth from Ludacris came out.
Okay.
You know,
that's a good year for hip hop, man.
Devil's Night from D12 came out in 2001.
Yeah.
Beanie Siegel's The Reason came out in 2012.
Yeah.
I mean, Missy Elliott dropped So Addictive. I mean, in 2001, not 2012. 2001. All of these are 2001.
Wow.
So these are like great albums, man. The RZA dropped something.
You want a polar? You want to sell some?
You got one for me?
Yeah, 2001 was a good year. Damn.
Yeah, it
I
was a
definitely
good year
listened
for
to a
hip
lot
hop,
of those
for sure.
albums. I definitely went back like when I got older and started getting into like real New York hip hop and obviously like other artists from other places and shit.
Dude, Ja Rule, Pain is Love dropped.
Ja Rule.
That was the one with all of them radio hits that
Yeah.
everybody clowned him for, and then everybody came out making the same records.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That shit is crazy.
You good,
I'm just
Papa?
pouring myself a little seltzy.
Shout out to
Little
Ray
Celtic.
Figs though. That's my brother, man.
I was waiting. Yes.
If Ray Figs is still in here, man, shout out to Ray Figs. Look,
Yeah.
now we got look.
Yo, shout out Saif. He's across
is
the
he-
pond. He's one of our listeners from the UK,
What
bro.
time is it in the UK right now? No one can hear.
What time is it in the UK?
Yo, Saif, you need to check out Drama Relax. Listen to the music. Look it up, bro. He's from the UK. He's one of our listeners from where they eat spuds.
Another day one supporter. Right?
I'm
Yeah,
not gonna say this
a day
over.
one.
I always say this every time I'm hearing Ray Figs in the chat. I'm always like, yo, me and Ray Figs, it's my brother.
It's your bro.
Nah,
We
yo,
go way
Ray shows
back.
us mad love. We gotta show Ray love every time.
Nah, shout out to Ray though. Me and Ray,
Yeah, shout out Ray for sure.
shit.
He was one of
You
our
already know the deal.
fucking first like guests that brought mad eyes. I think we had like 200 people in there.
200 people.
Yo, his
Ray
guy
Figs?
went ham, bro.
Damn,
I'm
Ray
telling
Figs,
you.
Yo,
man.
he's into different cultures. That's why he's into different things.
He'll have skateboarders watching you, photographers watching you,
Pop figure guys.
Pokemon collectors and shit.
Yeah, man, collectible guys.
For real.
That's fire. Ray Figs is a goat,
Nah,
man.
yeah, shout out to Ray Figs though. Me and him go way back, like probably like 6th grade, 7th grade. You know I grew up with him?
Yeah, I do.
Word. All right, I'm gonna head off though. Shout out to Drama Relax. Shout out Berto. Shout out Justin, man. Shout out Masters and None podcast.
Already
This
know
is
what
my
time it is, bro.
Favorite podcast I think of all time right now. Honestly, these are just my guys, and that's why I like it more because I know you guys. Remember what we were talking about?
Yeah, bro. Listen, man. That's really what it comes down to, bro. I'm telling you, it's bigging up the people that have been here, the people that and people that are trying to do something, bro. That's
Facts.
it, man. If you're trying to do something, bro, we're trying to work, man.
Facts.
That's
and,
it.
shout out my guys. Yeah, I'm out. But that was
Yeah.
cool. Cool little
Yo,
special guest.
Lucy moved that chair so much,
Yo,
bro.
Lucy, the dog was in here. She was so.
Bro,
shit, that
horse,
thing
the
is a
pony
crazy-
came in here.
You want to fix this one?
The pony, nah, she didn't touch the camera. She just moved that chair.
Oh, okay. Dude, I got this question I've been wanting to ask you. That's nothing crazy.
Yo, I love live shows, bro. This is, you know what I'm saying? I just, nah, you good.
Yo, so I wanted to ask you a question. So,
There's something in there.
I'm watching all your interviews, right? Because I don't want this to be like every other interview you've ever done. But I want information, right? How'd you end up on All Access with Nicky Rod? How do these two worlds collide? Justin and I are very big fans of jiu-jitsu. And by proxy are also fans of Nicky Rod.
And the whole B team.
And the whole B team, yeah.
The whole B team.
Crazy, right?
Craig, everybody.
How did that...
Damien,
Dude,
all of them.
when I sent that to Justin, he said to me, he goes, this wasn't in my fucking bingo card.
Yeah.
I said,
this
dude,
guy says, guess what I just found?
Yeah, that's rare.
That drama did. I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't know. I would have thought you were a high diver before I thought you were on Nicky Rod's podcast. That was like the last thing that I had. I would have been like, yo, I don't know. Maybe he's got like, I don't know, a 30-second, like 50-meter freestyle. I don't really know.
Yo, I see
You know what I'm
it.
saying?
I was like, oh, this dude can rap and he's nice at jiu-jitsu. Fuck, dude.
Yeah, right.
Well, I'm not nice at jiu-jitsu. That's 100% for sure. So yeah, you know what's so crazy is like I always think about that, and it's like, first of all, Nicky Rod, from what I understand, I don't know too much about it, but he's like the best.
He's
up there.
He's one of the...
Isn't there one other guy better than him?
Two other guys. Craig Jones,
Yeah.
Gordon Ryan.
Gordon Ryan is
Yeah.
the name I know.
Yeah,
But
Gordon
did he beat
Ryan.
Gordon Ryan?
Never.
No.
Has he
Nobody's...
fought him?
Yes.
And
He
he
broke
lost.
his ankle.
But he lost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because Gordon
And-
didn't tap.
The
Yeah.
thing that Nicky Rod is known for is that he was a blue belt, which is a second, it's like above a white belt. It's literally what we are. And this dude was finishing black belts. So that was like, he became the black belt slayer is what they called him.
they dubbed
Because
him
he
the
was
black belt
he was
slayer,
such a
dude.
gorilla that he was just finishing guys that had been training for like 20 years. And he was just
because he's
finishing these
huge.
dudes. Yeah. He's a freak athlete and his work ethic's crazy. So what, that's the question is like, what,
I like that.
how did that happen?
Yeah, how'd you cross paths? Were you in Texas? Did he...
Right. So this is what happened. So he was in. So I have a friend. His name's Francis Films. He was a camera guy. And somehow, one way or another, this is a long time ago too, 2021. He was, I guess he was filming whatever Nicky Rod was doing in that world, in the jiu-jitsu world. He was filming those matches or something. And I guess Nicky Rod decided to start a podcast. So I went, and me and Francis were real tight. He is the one that shot the Kemba video and my Can't Tell Crazy video. And he was like, yo, I got this guy, Nicky Rod. He's like this big, UFC guy or whatever is what I thought he was. I was like, okay, cool. So I went to Nicky Rod's apartment in New Jersey. He was doing a podcast out of his apartment, and I just did that interview. I didn't realize over time, obviously he grew to be like he's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like Joe Rogan, when I heard Joe Rogan mentioning him, because I remember hearing Joe Rogan comparing him to the Gordon Ryan guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, what the fuck? Joe Rogan's talking about this guy.
There's a lore because all those guys trained together.
Right.
At one point.
Right.
So there's like this it's not behind the scenes, everybody knows about it, but there's like this drama between him and Gordon, and if you were to ask him who's the best in the world, he would say he's the best, or maybe he'd say Craig or himself, but and if you ask Gordon, well, Gordon will always say that he's the best, but they're both elite athletes. They're all elite athletes, significantly better than me. I have no place saying anything about who's better than anybody, so I shut the fuck up. But yeah.
Yeah,
But when I seen that, I was like, "Whoa, what a crossover!"
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Dude, I never would have had that on my bingo card. I swear to God. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm like,
cool.
I've been messing with his music for a minute. I'm like, but I was like, this, I did not know.
Yeah, shout
Another
out to
question
him.
I got, and I'm sorry if this is like a generic question that you might get, but I have to know, what was it like when you woke up and somebody told you, or how'd you find out that your songs were being used in I think it was Jake Paul's vlogs? Yeah. How'd you find out first?
So I think that day people were just and Jake Paul wasn't that big. Like it's not like everybody just knew who he was. Like I don't even really think I knew who he was. Maybe I did. I don't know.
He was already very famous though.
Yeah, he was famous.
He was super
Right.
famous.
But he was niche famous. He wasn't
like-
boxing famous.
Right, he
now,
wasn't that fucking famous. And YouTubers at that time weren't even like. It's not like you just know. Even like I I wasn't even like tuned into like even YouTubers or anything like that. It was early. This was like 2017 too, and people just started hitting me and were like, "Yo, your song's in Jake Paul's video." I was like, "Okay," but then I saw my SoundCloud streams just like 1,000 plays like every minute, like it was just booming, and I was like, "Uh oh, something's up." And then yeah, that was all, and you know, I don't really know. That's what propelled my Can't Talk Crazy song to be big. And that's probably my biggest song ever, because that's the song that was the crossover to me. Like every single person that felt some type of way about me, or you know, was hating on me, quote unquote, it just went away. It was just like nobody's hating on me now, and I was just like going out to local bars and just going out, and I was just like, everybody was fucking with me. Plus, the song was like a pop crossover girl song, so it wasn't even like it was a rap song, which has made it even better because now the girls fucking with it, and like it wasn't like a song you could really hate on. Like, you're not judging me for my lyrics or anything. Like, it was just a vibe of a song. So like that song being the one to work first for me was perfect because it was not really hateable. It was just like a vibe that you kind of had on. Like, you didn't really have to like, oh, how is he nice? Is he, you know, all that stuff. So I was very grateful for that. Jake Paul used like 8 of my songs in his videos. Like the next 8 videos that he put out had my songs in them. And that didn't really matter at that point. So it didn't really do much. It was just that one video. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't like when I woke up and Big Sean followed me or something like that, because I had no connection to who Jake Paul really was.
Yeah.
So it was cool once I saw what it was doing, but it wasn't like some moment that I felt like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, I didn't feel that way.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I was a maverick, which is like what he called his audience back in the day. But I will say that I was always like, I always watch YouTube. Like, I remember I've been watching like guys like Philip DeFranco, who've been on YouTube for like, you know, as long as YouTube has existed. I've been watching them since like they first started. For whatever reason, I was always super drawn to. I'm a nerd. I'm a computer kid. I'm not like, you know, TV. I'm more like, I'm not PlayStation. I'm like keyboard and mouse. Right. So for me, like, you know, he's always been like a big deal. So when I seen, I was like, oh shit, these songs are on like the vlogs. I was like, in my mind, I'm like, damn, that's kind of a big deal. It's pretty cool.
No, it was awesome. Yeah.
You know,
awesome.
Especially, and you did gain some traffic from it. You said, you know, dude, when you see numbers spike up, and then obviously you knew where it was coming from. But I know even from our perspective, sometimes we'll see numbers spike, which is like, what the fuck is happening?
Right.
Where's this coming from?
Yeah, that's what it was. It was like something's happening, and like I had to figure out what it was. And then later on in the day, that started happening. I'm like, oh, maybe this is where that's coming from, because I dropped the song like yesterday.
Yeah.
That's what was crazy about it. And another thing too, and this is just also a piece of advice that I might as well throw in there. At the time, I had a manager, and not that he was against me putting out the song, but just like kind of like my whole SoundCloud run, there was people kind of always like, "Yo, like don't drop that, don't do that." I would just make the song, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm dropping it. I wouldn't really care what someone thought or said or anything. So I put Can't Talk Crazy out, making it that day. I would sometimes make songs that day and just drop them, because that was the benefit of SoundCloud. And to see it work that way, when I was kind of told, don't do that. Even with my Splashin' mixtape, which is going way back, I've said this, and rest in peace, Jay Stash, a big bro to me, somebody who changed my life. Even he was like, yo, you know, don't put this out, don't do that, for different reasons. Not because it wasn't good or he didn't think it was good. He wanted it done a certain way. And I was just like, nah, I'm going to put it out. And that changed my life too. So it was just like, you know, you have to understand when to kind of make a move and when to do something for yourself. And again, it just goes back to you have to develop having the confidence in your choices. And that is just something that is a little bit of risk, where you're like, okay, you're kind of just doing it and you're just praying, and also understanding that you have a vision for it and you think it could work, and you got to trust that. So it's a kind of combination of both. I really had that back in the day. Now I'm more hesitant. But back then I was just like, whatever I'm doing seems to be working. So it just gives you that confidence to just take those chances. And usually those chances are the ones that, you know, will change things for you. So don't be hesitant to, you know, put something out that you believe in. A lot of people are worried to put out music. If you're an artist and you make music and you don't have that much music out, you don't have that much buzz, the only fucking thing you should really be doing is putting out music, I think, because I think that that's the most valuable asset you could have if you're an artist.
Some people don't realize that your throwaways or sometimes your following is like, you know, that's going to be your biggest hit. We talk about it all the time. Sometimes that's one of the biggest reasons why we do this show live, because if we didn't do it live, we'd be so critical. Cut this out. That's not funny. That's racist. Don't put this, you know, it's like, you just put everything out. But you mentioned Jay Stash.
I don't even listen back, bro.
This is a long thing to listen back to.
I don't even listen. Yeah, like I don't even
song,
listen
I'm
back.
like, all right.
We listen back like if we have to edit something or rather like put out a clip or something. But go ahead, bro.
No, I was just asking. He mentioned Jay Stash earlier, and I know that you met Jay Stash through him jumping on one of your beats to do the song Gorillas.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so when you started working with him, was he like your first exposure to somebody who was like a bigger artist, or did you kind of already know what that lifestyle was like, or was he kind of the first person to kind of show you what it was like, being with somebody who's like a full-time musician?
Yeah. Are you guys good on time? Are you good on time? Okay.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good,
what
bro.
time is it?
You let us know, man.
8:47.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever you gotta do, man.
Yeah. So this, now we can go way back to the question that that you asked me.
Yeah.
About the sampling. Here's where I could use that
Yes,
in here.
I'm intrigued by that.
So I started making beats too. That's how I was kind of starting. I don't even remember if I was rapping or making beats first, but I was making beats primarily, and I was sampling a lot of like Al Green, and like those type of people, those artists, those soul artists, Marvin Gaye, like those type of people. Better people than that, like more low key people, but I don't remember their names. And so I was making beats and I was sampling and just making like Houston sounding like chopped and screwed beats. Like I don't know what I was on. I don't even know how I was doing this, but I was just like reversing shit. I was just going crazy. And I was just selling all my beats and everything, and like I was booming. And there was a point in time where if you searched Drake type beat on YouTube, like my beats were the first ones coming up. And it was just like Houston Drake type beat. And Kurt Cobain's bought a beat from me. And that
Get
was,
the fuck out of
that was
here,
the first
bro.
time where I was like, okay, that was the ultimate first time that I had exposure to something like, that's where I was like, okay, that's crazy, and this matters to me. Yeah, so that was first before Jay Stash, and that was kind of cool. Don Toliver actually got on my beat too,
Dope.
before he was big. Somebody showed me that like a couple years ago, just like sent me this video. It was a music video of Don Toliver and somebody else on a beat I made. Because I was like making Houston type beats, and he's a Houston guy too. So all these Houston artists were like getting on my shit back in the day. So Jay Stash found one of my beats, normal shit. Didn't know who he was, bought the beat, or he didn't buy the beat. He didn't want to buy the beat. So I was like, okay. And I was asking for like $50 for it. And he's like, how about this? I'll sign you to Relax Records. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Sign me. And yeah, Relax Records at that time was this fucking huge group out of Florida, out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida area. And I was like this white kid in this group. And it was just like complete opposite of my life in every aspect. And it just added to the craziness and like the just like the exaggeration of being a rapper, because I was hanging out with Jay Stash and he's got tattoos on his face and everything. And
First day they took you to get fitted for your first grill and shit.
yeah, exactly. Like the first time I saw him, it was like on some real like rapper type of shit. Like we were riding around in a truck, like a black truck, and we were like
Bulletproof.
going out to dinner. Yeah, like and he had his gun on him. I don't know if he had his gun on him, but he definitely at times had a gun on him.
I mean, it's Florida. You
Yeah,
probably
well,
did.
in Florida,
I think it's safe.
everyone
Yeah.
had guns, and I was like, it was crazy for me.
You're like, in New York, we can't carry shit.
No, there was no guns in New York. But when I went down to Florida, everybody had their guns out. And I was like, okay, well, this is interesting, because if I could kind of like use this to my advantage, then maybe something could kind of work out. Plus, it kind of gave me some sort of credibility of just like having that experience. And what started happening is I started dropping music, and my music was just kind of like growing past everybody else's in the group. And yeah, that's kind of that whole Relax Records fan base, what became my fan base. And it's like a completely different world and a completely different fan base than I have now and like that I really ever had. But it was just like people that were just like young kids that were just like doing drugs and just like being crazy and just wanted to listen to like turned up music, and somehow I was just like falling into that lane. So yeah, Jay Stash is solely responsible for changing my life in music.
Can I ask you something? Like, what are the songs in this at this point? Like in the timeline, is this?
My songs?
Yeah, like where was Kemba at this time?
Past that. So this is like Bracken. I had a song called Bracken,
Okay.
which I don't know if anybody, you guys know that, but that was like
Yes.
my first biggest song.
Okay.
Bracken.
I was very intrigued by that because I heard you talking about it, and I said, I gotta look this shit up. I gotta see what's bracking.
Yeah.
I gotta see what's bracking.
Bracken, yeah, Bracken. And I went down to Miami and we shot a music video to it, and I was like in the Rolls Royce and like I was in the Miami mansion and everything. Like it was just crazy stuff. So it was a good time. And like Way Up is another song I had, and Mighty, and these are all songs that like really made me, I think, anything. This was like I still have never had moments like what I was having then, and then that kind of transformed into Can't Talk Crazy, Kemba, everything. When I kind of pulled it back and I was like, okay, I kind of want to make songs for girls. I like that vibe. I like being around girls. I want them to hear the songs. Like I like their reactions more. So I transitioned to making that type of music, and just kind of like. I wanted to start making music of like, music that like I could see like my town repping, and like supporting and like getting behind. So that was the transition to that. So that's like from 2015 to like 2017 area was like the Relax Records stretch.
Do you feel like when you're in situations like that where you have this like new fan base now who likes a different maybe style of music, and you make adjustments to cater to an audience like that? Because I've heard you say that when you were on Interscope, it was there was a sound that the team's looking for. Do you think that maybe that's when like some of your better music, in terms of like what you enjoy, when some of the better music comes out, like you working hard to kind of go outside your box and do something a little bit different?
Well, when I was with the label, for the majority of me being with the label, I was making music to solely cater for pretty much the label and what I thought they wanted. So 99% of the music that I made, while I was with the label, never came out and was never released or anything like that, and it was definitely different than what I usually do. Songs like Private, which was my first label song, Your Love was with Tori, and all of that with Jeremiah. Those songs are kind of a little more different than what I tend to make, but they definitely worked and were successful. They reached a different audience in time.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
I hear you. Shutter.
Oh,
But
he's pointing at shit. I thought he was pointing at the chat. I'm like, you're right. We should catch up on the chat.
no, I wanted this guy to finish what he was saying.
Yeah, you distracted me. I apologize.
That's all right.
It's
No, this
Fucking-
is fine. I
Fucking
can't
dude.
even believe this setup. It's so unbelievable.
yeah. Somebody's got to.
Come on, bro.
You should have seen it when we had a producer. When we had a producer, tight as ship, dude. Now we got a one-man band. Justin's over here fucking playing Guitar Hero on that thing.
You
I'm
got to
just
cup
watching
them.
you guys coordinate everything the whole time. I'm like, all right, what's going on? What's
Nah,
going on?
I
Yeah.
feel so bad that
Yeah,
you
I'm
see
sorry,
that, but
dude.
it's
No,
like,
that's good. That's good.
we hide it with the cameras. You know what I'm saying?
It's
Everything looks great.
you know how it is. It's like when you want to do something, you can't let anything, like we can't let not having a producer here stop us. Like we got to just do whatever it is that we have to do
Right.
to, like, no matter what, we're dropping an episode every Tuesday. Last summer, Justin went away. Justin also does like videography work. And he went away last summer for an opportunity to do video work in Massachusetts. And every week we were doing remote episodes.
Right.
And Justin knows better than anybody else. I don't like remote episodes. I don't like it. I think there's a sense of professionalism that comes with being in like the same place, and I enjoy like symmetry and quality of things, and I think that's difficult to do. No disrespect to anybody who does anything differently or whatever the case may be, but it's just my preference. But we ended up doing it. It was outside of my box, and I thought it was great. Ended up working out. But like, I say that to say that, like, you can't get, which this already.
Right.
We don't let anything get in our way.
Right, that's good.
Yeah.
Can't do it, bro.
Man, I could do this forever.
Yeah, dude. Are you good on time?
Yeah, I mean, soon.
That's
soon.
our question.
All right, let's
You know what I'm saying?
let's put a bow on this. I want to you ask a question. Let's get one more each.
One more question.
Yeah. If you're good, then I got one more, and then we can.
I want to know where you get your beats from. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, okay. I'll shout out my producer. So, at this point in time, I'm getting my beats from. I'm really trying to. Another great thing.
You don't have to disclose this.
No, I want to disclose it because these
Okay.
guys are good. Another good thing about working with Tyga and just having industry connections is like I get better beats when I'm songwriting. Tyga at one point was putting me with some big people, and I was like, wow, I can't believe I'm working on some of these guys' beats. But that's just like one-offs. My boy Timmy is a hometown friend of mine. He makes a lot of my beats. He's got a real wavy sound. My boy Sad, shout out Metro. Those are my a lot of my beats are coming from there.
Like Young Metro, don't trust you, I'm gonna shoot you.
No, not Metro, Mectro.
Oh, okay.
He made Kemba.
Oh, come on, bro. It's my guy.
Yeah.
You know,
Fuck with him
Kemba's my
already.
shit.
He made Kemba.
Kemba's my shit, bro.
Yeah. So yeah, it's very important. The producers right now, and I'm trying to like really lock in and form relationships with producers. It's tough to get a good one, and when you get a good one, you want to really appreciate them and value them, and also you need to compensate them in some sort of way.
Yep.
And it doesn't necessarily need to be financial. Listen, if you're not making money, you don't have to pay people. It's okay. Make sure that you're setting yourself up to, when you get into a situation, to benefit, or if it's financial or whatever it is, you include that person. I know it firsthand. I can't even make music if I don't have a good beat. Like I'm at a point I won't even make music if I don't have a good beat now. I'm not even trying to test shit out anymore. So when I get a producer that I fuck with, it's just very important, and you have to fucking give back to the producers, man. So I hope that you appreciate me saying that. But
Of course I do,
producers
bro.
are so important. They're so valuable. They're so smart, and they save you so much time from having to look for beats on YouTube, which nobody wants to do that, and even listen. I used to make beats for myself and fucking do it. I don't want to do that. I want to enjoy the songwriting process, the making the music process, and let the beats come from a producer who cares like I do from the producing side. So shout out all my producing guys. Shout out DTP. That's another guy I'm working with. Shout out Kenyal. Kenyal is who made a lot of the Tyga shit. DTP made Wody. Me and him are working together a lot. So yeah, I'm happy. I got a lot of good producers. Maybe me and you.
Hey, bro. Listen, I'm here for it, man.
Maybe we make something happen.
I'm here for it,
I
man.
don't know much about music, but Justin be having these crazy machines in his crib with a bunch of pads and shit on it, and then he takes records and he puts them in this fucking pad, and then he just makes. I'm gonna say, dude,
Yeah,
there's
that's high
gotta be
level.
there's
That's high
gotta be
level.
an easier way. Justin's doing the craziest shit. This crib, I swear to God, if I walked in and he was doing double backflips, I think it'd be easier than what the fuck he's doing
That's high
with
level
these
stuff.
old records into this fucking gray contraption. And he's like, nah. I wanted this one spot in this song. Listen to it. And then he'll listen to it 55 times. And doink, 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 doink. I'm like, I don't know, dude. Those doinks sound the same, man.
That's the real way of making beats.
But that's Justin right there.
That's fine.
I had a question.
That's the funniest shit in the world to hear somebody from the outside of music listen to me make a beat. That shit is crazy. He's
Yo,
probably like,
it's the same
just
sound.
when you start catching a vibe, I started over.
It's the same a million times over. I'd be in the crib, we're watching the fights. He's in like, and it's just like the same over and over, and it's doink, 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 doink. And I was like, dude, just fuck a big one. That one sounded great. Real
But then at
quick.
the end, you fuck with it.
No, I always fuck with it. Real quick, because I want to put a bow
respect
on this.
Go ahead, bro.
I'm gonna switch up my question. I had another question. I'm not going to ask that one. You spoke about guidance throughout your career and the difficulties of finding guidance, right? So now that you're, further into your career, what advice do you give to like up and coming artists when it comes to getting advice for music they're putting out or decisions to make, maybe from a business perspective? We're not in a point anymore where just rapping, being a good rapper, being a good musician is enough. Now you also have to be a savvy business person along with being a good rapper. So what is like your kind of, feedback to somebody who might be still early in their career and, kind of seeking guidance, but unaware of where to get it from because their friends aren't musicians and they don't know anybody that's can help them with this?
I've like what I was saying before. I try to extend my hand and just with advice, and there's just too many times where I just feel like it just doesn't resonate to the people. So you have to be a specific type of way. A lot of people, I think, just I don't know. My advice is always everything that I learned is just experience based. Like I couldn't have been taught it like from a conversation. So unfortunately, a lot of the things that you have to learn you're going to learn it through, just going through it. And that's just obviously with everything in life. So my best advice would be to, and I try to put a lot of people onto this. Number one, you should obviously be informed about. And I'm speaking from somebody that's my age at this point. If you're somebody that's my age, you want to be informed about life, about what's going on. I think you want to be open to learning about other things because you have to have these experiences to make the right music. So you don't want to just be like a hermit about music, and a lot of people I think are. But like I just think that you have to be willing to put yourself in situations that you might not like. You have to get on that plane by yourself. You have to go do that show by yourself. Listen, there's been many times where I took flights to many different states by myself and did a show and met somebody like, just completely solo. Went to the city a bunch of times and just did shows by myself. So you have to have you have to be humble enough to do that. And also confident at the same time to know that, it's going to pay off you doing those things. So what I would say is don't be shy and get outside and put yourself out there and you'll learn because a lot of those times when you do things like that, something fucks up, something goes wrong. So you miss something, you screw something up, you have a bad show. That's how you build and learn and understand. You can't know all these things by just sitting around and not putting yourself out there. So the number one thing, and this goes with music, with business, with anything you want to do, you have to assert yourself and be available and have some sort of value to contribute to whatever the room is that you're in, because that's how I think you get somewhere in life. So that would be my advice.
That's it. So provide value and be ready when the opportunity comes.
Right. You got to be ready.
Gotta be ready,
Luck
man.
and preparation.
That's it.
That's
Bingo.
what you need.
Aligning. All right, man. That was my finale.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you
man.
guys. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to Master None Podcast. I really appreciate you guys.
Thank you,
having me on,
dude. Are you
man.
kidding me? Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Shout out to you. And, this is the Master None Podcast, episode 250.
250.
Just, we're going to have, all his social media handles and stuff like that in the description so you guys can, find his music, find where he is. If you want to follow him, which you should do. This guy's making moves over here. But just let the people know real quick where they can find you, man.
So, yeah, Drama Relax on everything. Tap in. We got a lot of new music coming soon. Me and Rav's working on an album. We got a big show coming June 14th at the new AMH. It's much nicer than the old AMH, in case anybody's wondering. I've actually told people, yo, we're doing a show at AMH, and they're like, I'm not fucking going there. And I'm like, no, it's nice. It's redone. So come to the show, support. Shout out Aaron and Colossal and Rav's, Lost Planet. And shout out Master of None Podcast, man. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for coming, man. What do you got for the people real quick?
Hit him with the outro, Papa.
Yeah. Master None Podcast, episode 250. Thank you to everybody that was in the chat, man. Shout out to Jay. Shout out to Spaz. Shout out to Ray. Shout out to Saeed. Shout out to everybody that jumped in that chat, man. Make sure you guys smash that like button on your way out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell. So every single time we go live or every time we post a short or post a video, you guys get the notification and listen to us on your favorite audio podcast platforms. If If you don't find us on, let's say, whatever it is, because we're on everything else. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on, pretty much everywhere. Stitcher, Podbean, wherever you listen to your podcast. If you don't find us on the one that you prefer, if you're international, whatever it is, just make sure you jump in the Discord. And Berto, what are you going to do if they jump into Discord and they tell you?
Join the Discord. I recommend you harass us until we place the podcast on your obscure podcast listening platform. I'm talking about if you're in Cuba and you got one of those internet things where you're just connected to a bunch of other computers, we can be on there too, but you need to tell us. You need to harass us. Join the Discord either way. Recommend topics. Bullshit with us. My feet pics are on there. No big deal. And again, thank you so much for coming on, rocking with us. We appreciate it. That's it. Masters on episode 250. We'll be back next Tuesday.
Bang.
Done.
And shout out to Rabs, man. Rabs in the background, man. I can't forget the guy, Rabs, man. Come through, bro. Come through. We got the main. Go ahead, man. We got, you know what I'm saying?
Episode 250. You know?
Episode 250,
I got
bro.
the quadra pack.
Oye, te hablo desde la prisión. Wilson Manyoma. Corona.
I wanted to kind of